Howdy everyone, my name is Squashua, and as of today, I am the world record holder for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Trial of the Sword, any percent no out of bounds. That's a really long name, it doesn't really sound very cool when I say it like that, but it's a very cool speedrun, a very cool category, and it's a very fun, just like, demonstration of the game's combat mechanics, because unlike a lot of other categories where it's more about like movement and getting the objectives done, Trial of the Sword is really just about combat on each floor over and over again for the duration of the run, right? Because we don't skip the floor, skew out through the wall, and run through the out of bounds category. We just, defeat the enemies as kind of was intended by this. Obviously, we do a little couple glitches. We do wind bombs. We do some whistle sprinting here and there, but that's the extent of it. By and large, we do just, take advantage of the game's natural fighting mechanics, stealth mode, the weapons, the 3+ attack, as well as bullet time. We do abuse bullet time, but that's it. We don't really do any much more taking advantage of glitches beyond that. So the point of this video is not only to kind of be a showcase of this world record run. I do want to commentate on what I did well, what I did wrong, but really I want this to kind of serve as a tutorial and kind of lower the threshold of what people need to do to get into this run, because I feel like this is really not only a really cool category, like I said, I think it's a great starting point for people running to speedrun, because the techniques you need aren't like super advanced. They're things you could have honed just through your casual playthrough, and it can serve as a springboard into, getting into bigger and longer categories beyond Trial of the Sword. So I'm going to be going floor by floor. I'm going to be talking about the strategy of what I'm looking for from the beginning, what went well, what went wrong, what the backups are, when things go wrong, right? That kind of thing. So if I had to guess, I think this video will probably end up being an hour, probably a little bit longer. You can see on your end, obviously, with the recording time. But I am going to have to bounce back a little bit back and forth. I'm going to try not to pause it too much and let it run when I can. But I do also want to be thorough to give you as much information as possible. I will put some things in the description, resources such as the route, wind bomb tutorials, things like that. And so I might not touch on those as I am going through this, but if there's anything that you don't know or have any information on as I'm saying it through this video, please look at the description. If that's not in the description, what you're looking for, then please feel free to leave a comment, and I'll even put my Discord handle in the description, and you can message me as well. So without further ado, we'll get into watching the video. So what we actually have here is the YouTube video of the current world record, my 35:10 run. And right now my webcam is just juxtaposed over the my webcam from the run. So what you're going to be seeing here is the YouTube video that I'll be pausing, moving backwards and forwards. Don't pay attention to the chat or anything else going on here. That's not live. I am live on Twitch right now recording this. That's how I'm doing it. So I do have a chat open that I will be paying attention to. Not too much, but that won't be anything you'll be able to see on your end during this. So we'll go ahead and get started. So what I want to bring attention to first, and I'm sure this is super exciting that I'm already pausing it, but this category allows for any preparation to be done before the run that you can bring in with it. So what you'll see here is I eat enduring fried wild greens to get the 2 extra stamina wheels. You can notice that I already have the 3 extra bonus hearts to have maximum health. So I have maximum health, maximum stamina, and then I also eat, I believe it's Mighty Simmered Fruit, which gives us the 3+ attack boost for 30 minutes, and that's the big part of the speedrun. Theoretically, if you wanted to do defense or speed, you could as well, but that's not as important for this, because at least when you're trying to get a fastest possible time, having the stronger attack, because the whole point of the mode is to defeat the enemies, the biggest thing you want to do is have the attack. So this one is a pretty straightforward floor. I'm just going to run forward. One thing you'll notice here is that the bokoblins are dancing. That's the very first thing I look for. They could either be dancing or not dancing. I know it's super complicated. If they're not dancing, there's really no issue because they don't notice you until you get right up close. But when they are dancing, for some reason they notice you a lot more quickly, and so you do need to react faster, throw the bomb more precise, and you can possibly blow yourself up and reset the run at this point. Fortunately, that's not what happens here. I notice they're dancing, I pull the bomb quickly, I'm able to find a spot, and then all you need from this floor is this woodcutter's axe. That'll be very important, and then that's it. So, fortunately, this next floor, B2, goes very well. These are the like preferred strats. So you really just run up at first, blow up this choo-choo, and then you're going to use the updraft created by its explosion to just kind of paraglider up onto this platform. And so you'll see my strat here is to make sure that both of these Bokos notice me. And so this one right here is the dangerous one because he has a shield, and if he holds up his shield, it just creates a problem. Because what you're going to want to do is run and jump a bomb right here by the tree in between the two of them, because you're going to run to the other side of the tree and blow up the bomb so that it hits them, but you're shielded by the tree. Like, you see this is really close, but for some reason Link is protected by the bomb explosion from this tree. And so if the guy, that first Boko that I pointed out, has his shield up, he won't be caught in this explosion. It'll just blow his shield up into the air. I'm sure you've seen it during the game. And so that's the first thing on this floor that can cause you issue. Fortunately, it goes well here, so that's a good showcase. But that's issue number one. So then you flip to the second bomb. And so what I do for this guy, because we won his bow, is I take the bomb, I throw it so it goes right behind his head, and then I explode it at this point because you can see through the little dots right here that his arrow pretty consistently, or not his arrow, his bow pretty consistently falls over here. And so now, this is the RNG on the floor as far as arrows. In this crate, you can either get 2, 6, 10, 15, or 20 arrows. You really want to get at least 10, because if you get 10 arrows from this crate, you don't have to worry about these barrels. Now, this crate is random arrows, it's RNG, but these barrels are guaranteed 5 arrow drops, right? So fortunately, I believe I do get 10 arrows here, so I get a 10 and a 1. And so that means all I have to do at this point is hit that Boko and go to the platform. Keep in mind that if I had not got 10 arrows from the crate, I would have gone over to these barrels here after shooting this Boko to get the 10 arrows we need, primarily for the next floor. So as you can guess from the splits, if you're not aware from them already, this floor is a whole bunch of choo-choos that pop out of the ground. And so the very first strat I do, the like only complicated part of this, is I pull a bomb and I throw it over here into that region. Because there's, after this first blue choo-choo spawns here, you get 4 small fire choo-choos that spawn at the cardinal points on the map here. And then after you do those, you'll get 4 big fire choo-choos that spawn at the ordinal direction of the map. And I just throw this bomb here at the beginning so we can shoot this choo-choo. This one can be exploded by a bomb when it pops up, and then we shoot the remaining choo-choos with arrows. So that one goes down. I blow up the bomb at this point. I just spin in a circle, shooting the choo-choos. I can apparently miss that one with the bomb, so don't judge that angle exactly. You might have thrown it a little bit more inside if I had to guess was my error there. But all in all, even missing that bomb strat, you only lose about a second and a half. So it's really not the worst thing in the world. And now we get into the big reset in basically every run. This floor, Bokoblin Lookout, it's called Kami's Lookout on my splits because I have a channel point redemption that you can change the name of the split. So, in short, there is a red Bokoblin right here, a red Bokoblin right here, a red Bokoblin right here, a red Bokoblin up in this tower, and another red Bokoblin at the very top. So that's 5 red Bokoblins, but none of them are really an issue. The issue is up here, there's 2 blue Bokoblins, which Tweedledee and Tweedledum have a mind of their own. You can't really depend on them to act one way or the other. So really, on any given run, the strat is just to react to what they do and try to have it go as well as it can. Because not only are they unpredictable, but you need their weapons. One of them has a sword, one of them has a club, and you need both their weapons to proceed. Now, they also have a problem of whenever you do defeat them, they will just throw their weapons willy-nilly. They'll throw them off the lookout, and that can be a big time loss. So as I'm progressing through this, my whole idea is just hoping that it goes well with the blue Bokoblins. This first one here, super simple. Jump, drop a bomb, go past them. You have enough time sprinting up these stairs that your bomb should reload if you have bombs plus. And so you just want to bomb this second blue Bokoblin. Then guess what? You bomb this third red Bokoblin, I mean. And so we're going to one his bow after we get these arrows. So we get the arrows, we get the bow, and then at this point, it's kind of just adapting to what they do. If this blue Bokoblin runs down here right away, just him, you can stasis him, headshot him twice, and then grab his club. If they both come down, then what I like to do is try to run up to the stairs, jump off the stairs to get bullet time, and use arrows while they're down here. If they both stay up here, you can run up here, try to jump on these crates, use bullet time, and proceed from there. But really, it's about adapting on the fly. So because that one blue bokoblin was on the stairs with me, and the other one was nowhere in sight, I ran up to this platform, got on these crates, and luckily, they both got here right in my face. This is like dream RNG. You can hardly ask for it better. And I'm able to get their weapons. You also need a shield, so it's not only that one guy's sword, but his shield. And I'm sorry, I forgot to comment on this, but this is really straight simple. You just want to shoot that red bokoblin with an arrow. You got to aim for this guy. That's a little bit precise, but it's not much of a big deal. You need to get fire arrows from this crate, and then I use a shield jump to try to get over that without being caught in this little cutscene here. I didn't get the shield jump the way I wanted to, but it still went pretty well. All things considered, only losing 2 seconds to my gold split on that floor, I'll take every time. That was pretty good. So, Skull Camp. What you have here is you got 2 red moblins. There's one here and one over here, and then inside the camp you got 3 blue bokoblins. So that sounds like this could be a very tough floor, but honestly this one actually goes pretty smoothly most of the time. So what you want to do is hit this red moblin with stasis, and then just 2 headshots to him. As you're taking this path kind of diagonally towards that red moblin, at this point you switch to fire arrows, shoot those crates, you switch to a bomb here, and you throw it into the skull camp, because as you're fighting this red moblin, those blue bokoblins are going to wake up. And the idea is, as you're fighting this red moblin, you can blow up that bomb, and hopefully either, you know, that can defeat the bokoblins by itself, or it'll blast them into the flames and it'll defeat them that way. So after I throw the bomb in, I turn my attention to this red moblin. 1 arrow, 2 arrows most of the time. You'll see kind of off screen actually, I blow up the bomb at that point, hoping to catch the blue bokoblins. This one escaped, you know, the blast radius apparently. He was already coming at me. And then at that point, the best thing is just to try to headshot him with an arrow. Unfortunately, I missed him at that with the first arrow. I had to shoot him twice anyway. But at this point, we just move on. So Stone Talus is actually pretty simple. The whole strat is just to jump on top of him, position yourself accordingly to get double hits with a 2-handed swinging weapon, and then that's it. You'll see here, just as a little hint, I like taking my shield out so that Link will stutter step back and forth. I find that generally you have more control of Link, he'll stay more like static and it's easy to control him as the Talus is shifting. I don't have a lot of hits or a lot to say about this floor. You know, you want to aim Link away from what you want him to hit, because when he's facing backwards you'll get more double hits. That's really the only advice I have there. There'll be 2 more Taluses later that are a little bit trickier, but that one is pretty easy. So the rest floor, this is probably going to be the biggest difference in between a speedrun and casual. By and large, we just skip most of these rest floors. Now, the one thing I can say that's useful on this rest floor, I suppose 2. In any rest floor, 2 of the 4 crates over here are going to have arrows. So if you're just low on arrows, or you want arrows, you can always go to these crates, grab some arrows. Additionally, on this very first rest floor, in this second crate, there's an 8-fold blade, which is actually 1 power stronger than the soldier's sword that we pick up. It's not worth avoiding the soldier's sword and going after this 8-fold blade at the highest level, but just kind of casually, or if you're learning the category, it's perfectly fine backup strat to pick up the sword here, especially if you couldn't get it fast from the blue bokoblin on the Boko lookout. So now we get to the water floors. If you're not aware, each like area in between the rest area during the trials has like a gimmick to it. The first one was just the grasslands. These are now the wet floors. The middle trials will have the updraft floors, followed by the dark floors, followed by a span of weaker guardian floors. And then likewise, once you get to the final trials, there's the lightning floors, the lava floors, the tundra floors, and then finally the big guardian floors. So what we do here on this very first water floor is we just need to get over there first. So I do a shield jump, and then I can get 2 swims. If you angle yourself positionally, you can also like get a couple walking steps on this rock here, which takes away one of the swims. But then the strat is just to shoot an arrow at this choo-choo. He explodes. You run over to these Lizalfos as they're shocked. And so you're going to have to pattern the way you attack the Lizalfos, because you can't just mash the button or else the 4th hit will send him flying. So you have to hit this first Lizalfos 1, 2, 3, let Link stop, 1, 2, 3, and that'll defeat him. But this Lizalfos, same thing, but you stasis him. So theoretically, you could just mash the sword 6 times there to defeat that Lizalfos. I think it's just a little bit slower. That one's not as big a deal. Here we go and get some arrows. You see me stutter a little there on my equips because I picked up the Traveler's Sword on the second floor, which I did not mean to. We just run this direction. We create a Chrononis block so we can kind of paraglider over to this Lizalfos faster. You kind of want to get in his face because he will try to shoot you with his bow really quickly, but it takes 3 hits to defeat him. And then you want to be really careful here to jump cancel that last hit because you want to pick up this Lizalbo. It's really important because we switch the Lizalbo here, and then with this last Lizalfos, if we had a fire arrow, this headshot with the Lizalbo would one-shot him. But because we don't have any fire arrows left, it takes 2 hits, which is fine. It's not much of a time loss. But ideally, you'd like to have at least one more fire arrow there to defeat the Lizalfos in 1 hit. Now we move on. And so, I mean, there's been whistle sprinting here and there so far, but now this floor is the first thing with a trick. I mean, you can call it a glitch if you want to, but the first thing we do is we position to the right away. You pull the bow right away because you want to shoot this Octorok as soon as he jumps. You can get a problem sometime where if you're too slow, you'll shoot the rock that he shoots out at you. It's not much of a big deal, but you take this guy out. And so then the strat here is we're going to do a shield jump off of a Rising Cryonis block and unequip the shield. So you'll see here, Cryonis, shield jump, jump off, unequip the shield, and if you didn't notice, Link gets a little bit of like extra air after unequipping the shield here. It's just a wonky thing with Breath of the Wild physics. But once you're in the air here, you take 4 headshots to this electric Wizrobe. Hopefully he's closer to you. Another shot to the Octorok there. And then you'll notice that I had to bomb myself here. And that's because unequipping your shield with the shield jump gives you Ragdoll. And we can't have Ragdoll because there will be a wind bomb coming up on a couple floors. And this is just the most optimal place and most optimal way to get rid of the Ragdoll glitch. You know, and then also if you don't feel comfortable doing the shield jump, which I didn't even do until I was getting closer and closer to world record, you can just create a Cryonis block and jump off and shoot the Wizrobe and that second Octorok as normal. It's really not a big deal. The shield jump strat is just like a little bit faster. So this underground floor 10, I call it B10, beginning trials 10. It's probably the hardest floor casually. A lot of people have trouble with because of the stronger Lizalfos, but the strats we do here do make it easy. It's easy to mess up as well, so I shouldn't just say it like that. But it is a fairly straightforward floor. So first off, this blue Lizalfos at the top. We run as far as we can before he gets the little exclamation point. At that point, we just stasis him. A single headshot to his head will defeat him. But one important thing to note here is you want to take a look at how many arrows Link has, because we need at least, I would say, 10 to 12 arrows just to be safe for the upcoming floors. And if you don't have 10 to 12 arrows at this point, you'll need to get arrows from these crates over here. But anyway, you take a stasis to this Lizalfos, a single arrow shot, and then you want to crouch and do crouch jumps to get over to this Lizalfos fast to do a stealth attack. Doing stealth jumps does not affect Link's stealth in any heavy sense. It might make a slight difference, but it doesn't make a difference insofar as he's Lizalfos noticing you. So you stealth jump over to him, you sneak strike, and then you just run over to the other side of him. And I say run, I shouldn't say just kind of jog here. You don't want to press the sprint button on this Lizalfos, because if you hit the sprint button, the other Lizalfos will notice you. So you do a sneak strike, you just jog around to the other side. This Lizalfos will turn around, he won't notice you, and you sneak strike again. I feel comfortable jogging all the way around to around this ladder. I cut it a little bit short here, that kind of just depends. But after you defeat this Lizalfos, you don't immediately need to start crouch jumping. You can get around this area. I wouldn't go any further, but that's the strat there. And so you'll see on this Lizalfos, I have found that when I'm on the left side here, he doesn't slide down as far for whatever reason, and that's why I went around to the left as opposed to the right after defeating the first Lizalfos. So this is my preference. I have better luck with it. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just placebo with the physics, but I prefer to go to the left side here. So after this first sneak strike, you can sprint around to the other side of him. You'll see me actually try to curb my movement to try to like keep him on the platform, because sometimes he can slide all the way in the water. So you just sneak strike again, equip the axe, and we're good to go. At this point, if I did not have enough arrows, I would have ran to these crates to get arrows before going to the platform. But again, I have a lot of arrows at this point, so I just run straight to the platform. And so our first real trick coming up on this floor, this is the boat cruise. Just a little preview for the boat cruise. You have 2 red bokoblins here in towers shooting you with arrows, or fire arrows. Then you have 2 blue bokoblins a little bit beyond them shooting you with fire arrows. And then on this lookout in the back, there's 2 red bokoblins with spears, a blue bokoblin with a spear, a black bokoblin with a sword, and a black moblin at the very top with a sword. And so what we're going to do at first is we're going to wind bomb all the way over to the lookout first, ignoring these guys in the beginning, not cryonicing over. We're going to defeat the enemies on the lookout, and then after we defeat the enemies on the lookout, we're going to arrow back to defeat these enemies. It moves very fast, so I just try to want to give you a little preview of it now. So this is, like I said, the first of 3 wind bombs we're going to do during the run. I'm not going to comment on how wind bomb works. I will link it to a tutorial in the description, the tutorial I used to learn wind bombs. But basically, we're going to do this technique to shoot ourselves all the way over the water, very fast movement, not having to do the really slow cryonis. And then so the strat here is to paraglider into these group of bokoblins, drop a bomb somewhere in the middle of them, so when it explodes, it not only defeats the 2 red ones, they'll just die to the damage, but it'll blow the blue bokoblin into the water. And as you know, the enemies in the game can't swim besides the Lizalfos, and so they'll be defeated instantly. So you see here, paraglider in, drop the bomb, run out of the blast radius, blow it up, it's fine. So we're going to abuse the drowning mechanics of the bokoblin again. So this enemy is really tough, we don't want to fight him normally, but if we have the wood axe equipped, or the woodcutter axe equipped, and we run up and we hit him with 2 quick attacks, the second one blows him away, and it will send him off of the lookout into the water and he drowns. We're going to do the same exact strat on this moblin here, and then after that point, it's just shooting these 4 remaining bokoblin with arrows. These first 3 are pretty simple. You can more or less aim right at them to defeat them. This last one, you do have to aim a little bit because we don't have the best bow. I get it first try there. I usually get it first or second try. And then that's it for this floor. Now we only have 1 floor remaining in the beginning trials, and it will be the big boss of the beginning trials, a blue Hinox, which does not take us very long, if I'm being honest. But there is something very funny that happens in this this fight. So we're going to wake him up with the arrow, and we're going to run in front of him, and we're going to shoot him with an arrow in his eye so that he falls down. And we're going to run over, and we're going to pick up the knight's broadsword from around his neck. If you notice at the end of the last floor, I unequipped the woodcutter's axe, so when I pick up the knight's broadsword here, I pick it up right away. And so you want to pick it up, and just a trick that I've learned is to, one, target the Hinox. You can see I'm actually targeting here, this arrow's pulling up. And then also, much like the Lizalfos on that first water floor, you don't just want to spam the attack button. You kind of want to pace it, 1, 2, 3, pause, 1, 2, 3, pause. Because this Hinox is wearing like the metal shin guards on his legs, and you can find yourself hitting the shin guards repeatedly, which of course does not do damage to the Hinox. But anyway, so I see it here, I'm doing sword strikes to the Hinox, and then I swear this is the only time this has ever happened to me. This Hinox starts turning around, and I'm so baffled trying to get him to pay attention to me. And you can just see this isn't going well. Ideally, the first time he stood up after the initial batch of sword strikes, I would have just stayed at him where he was standing, hit him in the eye, and then gone back to sword strikes. Honestly, I think this might be the biggest mistake in the run insofar as something that should have been under my control, that shouldn't have gone wrong. But like I said, I've been running this on and on, off and on for about 2 years now, and I've never seen that Hinox do anything like that. Even since this run, I've never seen the Hinox do anything like that. And that is the beginning trials. Well, we still have to go pick up the sword. But, fortunately, after the beginning trials, this is just a matter of exercise running up the floors. So, in between the trials, you pop back out to the Korok Forest. At this point, you could either refresh your stamina food, your attack food, health. If you don't get covered enough by that, you probably would. You could eat the bonus heart food if you wanted to. I believe I probably eat the stamina food, or I just skip it at this point because the attack food shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, so I eat the stamina food to recover some hearts, and I must have depleted some of my bonus stamina. Really, my rule of thumb there is if I have less than the 1.5 wheels of stamina, I'll eat the stamina food. But really, taking a damage shouldn't be much of a problem. Running out of the attack timer food shouldn't be much of a problem. So you're really just worried about stamina. So on this floor, just as a little preview again, this is the start of the updraft floors, as I was talking about. Up on this first platform up here to the left, there's going to be 2 red bokoblins. We're going to use bombs to take out both of them, including getting 1 bow and 1 woodcutter axe. Woodcutter axe, again, very important. And then from that point, we're going to go over here and defeat the final 3 enemies with bows, but I'll kind of show it as it goes in live motion. This first strat I think is really cool, because we kind of like Fast and Furious, drop the bombs on these guys, and if you do it, you know, in precise timing, you can kind of pick up the woodcutter's axe as he's dropping it. We use the woodcutter's axe to pick up those 2 barrels full of 10 arrows. We jump over here. We defeat this enemy first because he has a soldier's bow, which is already a big upgrade on the boko bow we just picked up. So I'm going to shoot this boko, unequip my bow, and pick up his bow right away, so I have the soldier's bow immediately equipped. And so after I equip it, I jump, create bullet time right away, and then just 2 arrows to these bokos will defeat them. After this point, I just run over here to these barrels, again get some arrows. I need a shield. I wouldn't normally pick up that wooden shield there, but because it was just on my way, I did. There's another shield that will always be on our way in the upcoming floor, but you know, if you can get a bonus shield, why not? So this next floor, you might remember as the one with the 2 whiz robes. It's a nightmare, not only casually, but as a speed run, because as you progress here, these 2 whiz robes, or really just this one here, this one's the problem. Right here, this is what you want. He's above the updraft. He's not above any type of platform. So that means when I shoot them with an arrow, both of them will just fall to their immediate defeat, right? And they're done. Now the problem is, if one of the whiz robes, usually this one over here, is over a platform, he will just fall to the platform, and you will lose at least 6+ seconds no matter what. If he does fall to the platform, again, probably going to be the one over here. You just want to fall to the platform with them, double hit him with the woodcutter's axe, so he'll limply fly away like the bokos did on the boat cruise, and at that point he will fall down into the abyss, but again, it's just slower. But after you defeat the 2 whiz robes, it's pretty simple from that point. You fly over here, you drop down, a single arrow to the boko defeats him, you pick up some arrows from both of those crates, I just missed the one. You fall down here, 2 headshots to the blue boko defeats him, 1 arrow anywhere to that red boko defeats him, and we move on. So this next floor is really fun, I think, as you play it, but the problem is arrow RNG, which I'll mention as we go. But again, just as a preview, over here there's a red bokoblin. In the back, there's a red bokoblin, blue bokoblin, red bokoblin. There's in the air here on an aerial platform with balloons of blue bokoblin. And then over here on your right, on the rightmost platform, there is a red bokoblin and a blue bokoblin. This floor is kind of designed or defined by all these bokoblins having elemental arrows. They either have ice arrows, shock arrows, or bomb arrows. So this one can be a nightmare if you take it too slow. But honestly, I think the speed strat is faster. Well, of course, speed strat is faster. But I think it's more reliable and it's easier than taking this slower. But what we're going to do first is we're going to zoom over to this platform. Defeat this one with an arrow. And then this crate here on the left has ice arrows. You can either have 2, 6, or 10. You need at least 6. 10 would be gravy. But if you get 2, it's a nightmare. The backup strats to not getting enough ice arrows are just, you know, trying to abuse regular arrows, which is really slow. I won't really be able to comment much on that. But here, what I need is at least 6 ice arrows, hopefully more. So I get 6 ice arrows, it's fine. Then you go to this platform, single arrow to that one, 2 headshots to that one, and again, a single arrow to this one. And so this is the shield I was talking about before. This one will always be right here in your way. You can pick it up. You don't need to pick up the wooden shield. You can if you want to. The shield will always be here for you. And then this crate here is the bomb arrows. So again, I got 6 bomb arrows, which is just like the ice arrows. 2 is run over. 6 is what you need, nothing less. And then 10 would be gravy. You get a couple of bonus strats if you get it. But 6 is absolutely fine. So when you're in the air, a single headshot will defeat that boko, a single headshot will defeat that boko, and then this blue one, you have to do 2 headshots. If you got 10, well, see, I'm losing some time here. If you did get 10 bomb arrows, you can use a bomb arrow on this blue bokoblin to defeat him instantly. That can be a possible time save. But if you only get 6, that's not worth wasting one, because we do account for all 6 of the bomb arrows. So this next floor is the very first parry of the run. This is the first of what, 8 parries. And so what I do here is I float up to this platform, I prep myself for the parry, and what I look for whenever you have a long range parry like this is for the beam to be more or less the halfway point. And so I look for that kind of cue, I parry, and then you'll notice that that was a really quick kind of animation, because if you crouch immediately after the parry, you cancel the slow-mo return. And then at this point, because you have to wait for the enemy to be like defeated to go through his explosion animation anyway, I pick up some arrows. There's no reason not to. You got to sit around. Even if you sit on this first platform, this floor doesn't really go much faster than that. So there's no reason not to get arrows. So this is another rest floor. Again, there's arrows in the crates if you want them, but there's actually a valuable resource we get here. This very first crate has Falcon Bow, which is the best bow, the fastest bow that we can get quick in the speedrun. So this is the beginning of the dark floors. This floor is pretty simple, so I'm gonna let it run. But basically, the first thing we do is we go to a bomb arrow. We aim at these keys in the tree that are sleeping. We go back to regular arrows, go for that choo-choo. You won't hear it in the audio here because I have the video itself muted, but I whistle sprint so that these keys hear me and come towards me. So I whistle sprint, the keys are coming my way, 2 arrows to those remaining keys, and then that's it for this floor. This next floor is a real pain. It's a Lizalfo skull camp. And so you see I start and I immediately go forward to the right. I need to aim a precise shot to knock this candle down. This is, again, precise. It's not like exactly you have to be on it, but you have to line that up pretty quickly. So then at this point you switch to an ice arrow because there's the Lizalfos here, which will notice you, at least so far as getting the little question mark. That's what I look for. You hit him with an ice arrow, he vanishes because he's an elemental enemy and you use the opposite element on him. There's another ice Lizalfos here, you shoot him with an ice arrow, you switch to bomb arrows, and now there's typically 2 surviving Lizalfos in the skull camp. There's only 2 to begin with, but typically both survive. You can see their health bar, they're running around. And so what I try to do is I aim for the one here with a bomb arrow, so that will not only explode him, but if the other Lizalfos is still alive, the damage will also catch him. And so this floor went pretty smoothly. I will accept this every time. Sometimes the Lizalfos in the skull camp are defeated just by the falling explosion with the barrels, but you really can't rely on that. That's the most dependable strat that you'll see most of the time. So this dark floor, you spawn and you immediately run to the right to get on this building. You're going to run forward, jump off, and start bullet time. Now there's 3 Bokos around this campfire. There's 2, I believe these are, I don't even know if they're red or blue. Honestly, it doesn't matter. But there's a black one here in the back, and this is the tough one. This is the one we worry about. So we have bomb arrows equipped. We're going to shoot a bomb arrow headshot at first, and then we're just going to shoot 2 more bomb arrows at him to defeat him. These 2 Bokos will just be defeated as collateral damage to the 3 bomb arrows. And then after the 3 bomb arrows, we will switch to an ice arrow, because I'm sure you saw there's a fire whiz robe on the other side. We run over here to pick up this weapon, the Dragon Bone Boko Bat. This is very important for the upcoming Hinox fight and the Guardian floors afterwards. And so then at this point we're just hoping for good RNG with his Riz robe, because he can be right here where you want him to be. He can be all the way up here. He can be behind this platform. I've even seen him be behind this platform. Him being straight ahead is the best thing you want, but as soon as he notices you and he starts coming towards you, you shoot him with an ice arrow before he starts dancing around, and then we move on. So now we have the second parry with the Decayed Guardian. I run up to the top of the building because after I defeat him, I'm going to use arrows. So this is a short range parry, and then the short range parries, what I look for is not this initial burst, but this like secondary burst of the eye is when you want to hit the parry button. And then again, I cancel the kind of slow down animation by crouching. I pick up arrows there because there's no reason not to while the guy's exploding. And then as we float over to this platform, I switch over to the Dragon Bone Boko Bat for the next one. And so now we come over to the Dark Hinox. I think this is a blue, this might be a black Hinox. I'm not even sure. It's dark. It's hard to tell. But basically, we have a Hinox enemy. It's dark. And this one has wooden shin guards. So what we start is we use our very last bomb arrow to hit him kind of, in this area here. So the explosion of fire catches his shin guards are fire, and we'll be able to damage him and not have to worry about hitting his shin guards like we did on the first Hinox we fought. And so then after we hit him, you know, I just kind of waste arrows as he's getting up, and then you hit him in the eye. You want to position yourself over here, facing backwards with a double-handed weapon. And you'll notice I tried to catch my Boko Bat on fire. I did. That's nice. You get a little bit extra damage. It's not a big thing either way. But the important thing is bomb arrow to wake him up, to flame the shin guards. Once he stands up, you hit him in the eye. Then you run over, position yourself facing backwards, two-handed weapon, and then you just go to town trying to get as many double hits as you can. This is a very reliable one-cycle way to defeat the Hinox. It should never be a problem. And then you'll notice I immediately run over here and I pick up the Thunderstorm Rod. The Thunderstorm Rod is very important. Do not forget. Whenever I was learning the route, I forgot it quite a lot. And then once you get to the point when you realize, oh crap, I don't have the Thunderstorm Rod, it's too late. If you want to pick up the bow or the sword, I mean you can. They're really not useful because after this point, there's only Guardian enemies. And we will get Guardian weapons to use on them, which are more efficient. But if you just want to have a thicker, you know, stash, you can. I don't know what's in any of these chests. I've never gotten them in the speedrun. But again, in the crates on the side, there are arrows if you want additional arrows. But honestly, with the arrow drops we've had so far, you shouldn't really need them. This is maybe the most simple, straightforward floor in this whole time. There's just 6 of these little Guardian Scout 1s. They're each defeated with 1 arrow. So you kind of just want to progress forward, aiming, defeating the Guardian Scouts, avoiding any blasts from the ones you can attack at first. And then you get ready for the next floor. So, this floor is kind of like a little Guardian maze. And so there's Guardian Scout 2 enemies. There's 1 over here, 1 in the back, and then 1 in this other corner here. I don't know why they're spread out in such a weird way. But we're going to immediately run to the left. We're going to throw this Boko Bat at this one to defeat him. And then we're going to pick up his sword. We're going to whistle sprint here, very important, to catch this guy's attention. It takes 3 hits of the sword to defeat him. You run over to this one, 3 hits of the sword to defeat him. We're going to pick up his ancient battle axe. That's very important. We're going to use that on the next couple of floors. And then that's it for this one. Again, very straightforward, very simple. Sometimes tricky to do fast if the Guardians don't notice you or they run a different direction. But honestly, this shouldn't be a floor that causes too much trouble. So we have another kind of Guardian 4 corners thing. There's 4 Guardian Scout 1s up on the top. There's 2 Guardian Scout 2s kind of across the middle. And so what we're going to do first is shoot arrows at the 4 in the corners. It shouldn't be a problem. Really quick to defeat them. And then as you naturally kind of like drift to the left, I find I run towards this guy to wake him up. I switch over to ice arrows as you saw there. And then I shoot 2 ice arrows to defeat this guy. I immediately go to the ancient battle axe and just start spinning. This guy usually comes into you. I pick up his Guardian sword, very important. Switch over to the Thunderstorm Rod, very important. So as you end this floor, you want to have equipped Thunderstorm Rod, Ice Arrow, and Stasis. That's what you want equipped. I haven't been touching on the equips very much because I think you can really do them in your own way. You don't have to do them on this floor at this time, but find it your own. So these are 2 ancient Guardian Scout 3s. These are a little bit more of a problem. So specifically what I like to do at the start is angle myself towards this one, shoot him with an ice arrow, run towards this one, and I shield immediately because this guy can start blasting his laser right away. I find that when you pull out your shield, he doesn't blast as often. So it's not like you block it, he just doesn't blast as often. But you make sure that he's not going to shoot you. You take out the Thunderstorm Rod, you use it 3 times, then you unequip it, unpause. So you unequip it, you move to something else, you let it go, you reopen the menu right away, and then you re-equip it. And that allows you to get past the cooldown of the elemental weapon. Because you played this game, as I'm sure you have, if you use the Flame Blade 3 or 4 times, and then you try to use it again, you just have a little bit of cooldown before it'll have the elemental effect again. But if you do that little menuing I did there, where you switch off of it, switch back onto it, that cooldown goes away, and you can go immediately into attacking again, which we use there. It takes 5, maybe all 6 hits to defeat the enemy. It's not really that important. But after you defeat that enemy, you turn your focus to this one. And what you want to do is switch the Ancient Battle Axe, stasis him, again, position yourself backwards, facing away, and just go to town on him. The important thing to pick up, though, from this last enemy is his sword. He has a Ancient Guardian Sword Plus, which will be very important, because coming up next, you might have guessed, is an Ancient Guardian Scout 4, which even using the cheesy, cheating 3+ attack speedrun strats still takes forever fighting this guy. He has his own little cutscene, as you see, as you know from the major tested strength shrines. So we're going to stasis him right away, and then just go to town with the Ancient Guardian Sword. Don't worry about like spacing out these, you just want as many as you want. Switch to Thunderstorm Rod, attack him twice, switch to another Ancient Sword, attack him. Rinse and repeat twice here. On this third one, you want to attack him with the Thunderstorm Rod. You want to switch all the way to the side. I mess up my equips here, don't pay attention to that. To the strongest Ancient Guardian weapon, because you're then going to stasis him right there, and you want to have it already equipped to attack him in this point. And then you're going to rinse and repeat the strat with the Thunderstorm Rod, switch over to it, shock him, attack him with the Guardian Sword, switch to the Thunderstorm Rod, attack him with the Guardian Sword, and then at this point it's just trying to dwindle his health away to the very last part. If you're feeling lucky, you might just go to strikes here. I apparently wanted to be safe and wanted to shock him one more time. It really shouldn't matter, and then you get in those last little blows. Because I do a wind bomb strat, I make sure to have the bomb and arrow equipped at this point. If you're starting on the speedrun, this wind bomb might not be as important to you, because if you miss it, it's like your PB attempts are over. So the one on the boat cruise is very important. This one not so much, at least for beginning runners. But this is a faster strat that allows us to save the time of running up the stairs, at least by like 6 or 7 seconds on the beginning trials here. But I just position a little wind bomb to go over to this platform here, and I drop onto it, pick up the sword, and then that is the middle trials. And I'm sorry for all the alerts going off right now. There's not much I can do about that watching this VOD. I very fortunately got a big raid from one of my speedrunning friends, and so I got a lot of alerts going off right now. Don't pay too much attention to it, as much as you can. And so at this point, before the final trials, I always refresh both of my food. It's not as important to do the attack food, because usually the attack food's not running out, at least for me. It may as you are just starting out. So it's very important probably to always refresh the attack food there. But the stamina food is really, again, what I'm most concerned about, is making sure I have the extra stamina wheels to, make the most of it. And so the start of this final trials is the thunder floors. The thunder floors with the stall enemies. It's really annoying. So this floor starts with 4 stall bokoblins kind of spawning right away. And so there'll be 3 right here coming to attack you with melee weapons, and there'll be 1 with an arrow in the back. My strat is to go towards this one with a spear, throw a bomb behind his head, pick up his spear, and then go to town on these enemies. Sometimes Link stabs at nothing. This time I was very happy that he stabbed at their heads. You want to pick up that Boko Bat. It's like the woodcutter's axe for this run, or this section of it. As you see, I use it to break the crates right there. I've re-equipped the spear. We're going to be using the spear offensively in the next floor. And then that's it. So you defeat those enemies, you pick up those arrows, and then we're good to go. This next floor starts with 2 electric keys. I whistle immediately to get their attention. I attack the first one directly with the spear. I throw the spear at the second one, really just because I think it's cool. I equip the Boko Bat. I run into the skull camp. There's nothing here until you run into it, and then 3 stall Lizalfos spawn. This one spawns first. So what you're going to see me do here is I'm going to run into around here, turn around, jump drop a bomb, and then run out and explode the bomb. And then hopefully they all get caught into the explosion damage. But you want to run in anyway with the bomb to blow up their heads, whatever survives. Unfortunately, that one on the left apparently didn't even blow up this time around. They usually do blow up at least the first time. You might have to use arrows or bombs on the heads on the ground, but usually it's not too much trouble. Now these next 2 floors, the big problem I find is the lightning when you're in bullet time. For reasons I don't need to get into here, the lightning during bullet time messes with you a little bit. But so you start off here, you shoot those 2 choo-choos with arrows, nothing much to say about that. You run up to this point, you pick up the 2 guaranteed 5 arrow drops from here, and then once you get up to this top platform, 5 stall moblins arise around here. And so it's very important to get these 5 stall moblins fast, because if you don't act fast enough, the lightning's kind of on, I don't know if it's on a timer necessarily, the lightning always seems to strike while you're attacking these stall moblins, especially if you move slowly. But the idea here is to jump off, initiate bullet time, 5 headshots to these stall moblins. And I start doing this left to right as opposed to the opposite way, because this fourth one, this one here, has a bow that we need to pick up, and I find it most optimal to already be facing this way just so I know where his bow is on the ground, and then I can proceed from there. So arrows to the choo-choos, pick up arrows in the barrels, jump off the top, bullet time arrow to the 5-stall moblins, make sure you pick up that dragon bone boko bat. And now this floor is really one of the banes of any speedrunner in this category. The stall cavalry, there are 8 stall bokos on 8 stall horses. There's lightning going around. It's just a nightmare. So there's 5 here, and then there's 3 over here on the other side of the map. And so what I do is I start with whistle to get their attention. You can see the exclamation points. I create a Cryonis block in the water, and then I jump off and use Cryonis on these. So I got really lucky. All 5 of them started running towards me. Sometimes Idiot runs towards the tree. Sometimes Idiot goes that way. That's super unfortunate. There's not much you can do at that point. But you want to jump off the Cryonis block, shoot the 5 bokos with headshot arrows, and you want to pay special attention to this boko here. He might not always be right here, but the one with this weapon, again, you need to pick up this dragon bone boko bat. So take note of that as you're going through it. So you'll see, I run over to it, I pick up the bone, and then I'm very purposeful with my movement here. You can't see, I apologize for the video quality being a little bit grainy, but there's a structure here that kind of blocks these guys from seeing you. And so what I like to do is block them from seeing me, and I don't whistle sprint up until I get around here, because I don't want them to notice me too fast, because I can't create a Cryonis block, or I can't jump on the platform to do bullet time. So I don't want them to start running towards me when I can't, defeat them quickly. But once I get around this area, when I feel like I can meet them at the platform, I'll start whistle sprinting so they start kind of looking, and then I'll get into their vision a little bit so they notice me, and then I want them to come towards me at this point. So I got really unfortunate that only one of them came towards me, and so that means I created a Cryonis block here so I can get these last 2. Hopefully what happens is that 2 of them come towards me, if not all 3 of them, and I can at least take down 2 of them before stasising that last boko, because you can stasis him, the boko, the horse will keep going, leaving the boko just there in the air, and you can headshot him while he's in stasis, and it'll still defeat him. It won't be like you have to hit him twice. I missed that arrow shot, that's a problem. Then you want to go over to these crates. This crate that I missed has shock arrows. The crate that I got has regular arrows. I would prefer to get both. I just kind of missed the shock arrows, but it's not worth it to me to go twice to get them. And then you just move on from there, making sure that you have stasis in the Dragon Bone Boko back equipped, because now we have a Stalnox. And what you want to do on the Stalnox here is stasis him right away, shoot him in the eye. You can just run straight forward. I don't know what's different about this Stalnox than other Hinox, but just facing forward and doing the 2-handed weapon, you'll still get lots of double hits here. I mean, I'm sure it's something to do with the Stalnox model. But then once he stands back up, and you equip your other weapon, he can do one of 3 things. He can either jump, do nothing, or try to step on you. Jump is the best one, because when he jumps, as he does here, he knocks his eye out, and then you can just attack it without having to stasis him again. If he does nothing, or if he tries to step on you, you do need to stasis him, shoot him in the eye again, the eye pops out, and then you just hit it at that point. And please note, you pick up all 3 of these. You really need the Great Frostblade and the Flame Spear. You don't really need the Thunderblade. I pick it up anyway just to spam, but if you want to skip the Thunderblade, you can. We actually get 2 chests here. They're very important. The Flamebreaker Pants, because there's lava floors coming up. This crate has 3 ancient arrows. There are 3 of these 3 ancient arrow chests. I know I just said crates. Again, if you want to pick up fairies, you can. If you want to pick up arrows, there's arrows in the actual crates. Not what I was calling crates. But now we move on to the final the lava floors. This is pretty straightforward. You shoot that choo-choo with an arrow. There's 2 mini taluses. You need to blow them up with bombs. And then in the back there's a rock being annoying. You throw a bomb in his mouth. You wait for him to get the bomb to suck, and then you blow it up. And we move on with our lives. This next floor, very straightforward as well. There's 3 fire Lizalfos and spires just kind of spread around you. You just kind of pick your direction. I go to the left. You can go to the right if you want to. It doesn't make a difference. Great Frostblade defeats them right away. You pick up the Strength and Lizalf bow as an upgrade on the previous wooden bow we were using. After you defeat this Lizalfos, you want to go over to this crate and pick up fire arrows. You can get 2, 6, or 10. I get 6 there. 10 would be even better. There's no exact count of what you need. You do the last thing with that Lizalfos, and you move over here. One thing I do want to point out after you defeat this one is it's very important to jump from the highest point of the rock here, because once you're in the air during the paraglider here and this cutscene starts, Link still like just slowly descends, as you'll see. He like falls down immediately. And so if you don't jump from the highest point and have enough momentum, you won't have enough momentum to get to the gust, which is really annoying. So this is the lava skull camp. I say lava skull camp, there's really only the rocks around. But what you want to do first is you want to headshot this Wizrobe, run up to it, hit it with the Great Flame Spear, and you want to pick up the Meteor Rod. Picking up the Meteor Rod is another thing that's really easy to forget, and it's very important for later. Don't forget to pick up the Meteor Rod. Now we want to run towards the actual frame of the skull camp here. We're going to jump in the eye, and then we're going to jump first and take 5 arrows to the black Moblin's head. 5 arrows will defeat him. Make sure you have 5 arrows equipped. You don't want to run out of arrows here. You can use shock arrows if you want. You want to pick up his Iron Sledgehammer. You run over to this Lizalfos first. You defeat him. You really want his shield. I just kind of spam A so I can pick up the shield. I don't care about the Lizal Forked Boomerang. If you can only pick up the shield, that's great, but I just spam A like I said. There's another fire Lizalfos. Hopefully he just stands there dancing, and then we can move on with our lives. If he does any kind of movement, you kind of just got to chase him down until you hit him with the Great Frostblade. Now, the floor that I actually hate the most, Lava Lookout. It's so hard to do fast. I do fortunately do it fast here, so this will be a good showcase. But first, you want to get into the paraglider, go to this updraft, go towards this Lizalfos. He has a habit of hitting you. It's super annoying. He can do a lot of damage, and you really don't want to take damage before you get to the Guardian floors because there's a lot of parries coming up. Spoiler. And so my strategy with this Lizalfos is one, to kind of take a diagonal angle, not fly straight towards him because that's when he hits you. I take a diagonal angle in case he shoots too fast, and then if he shoots too slow, and he shot perfectly in the middle there. There's nothing I could do. Great movement, outspace me in neutral. You know, that just happens on FD sometimes. But if he doesn't shoot you immediately as you land, if you get right up close to him, you can be too close to him for him to hit you with the arrow because he just naturally holds the bow out a little bit further. But that's the idea. So now, we're going to fly over here, and note that there are 3 black Moblins in the lookout here. The only enemies are that Lizalfos and these 3 black Moblins, and this is going to be messy. But you want to go down to the bottom of it first, because there's a chest here that has 3 ancient arrows, and we're going to need all 9 of the ancient arrows. It's very important, because we're going to use all 9 of them to defeat 9 enemies. There's no room to miss. And then the chest was actually on this giant metal crate, which you might be familiar with these from speedruns, and so we're going to use the same strat. We're going to try to defeat these Moblins, which that went right away. That was a dream. I cannot ask for better RNG. I say RNG, but the enemies can be moving around. It can be really annoying. That second Moblin could be coming down the stairs already to try to meet you, but that's what you want to do, is you want to hit both of them real fast, and ideally you'd also like to break this crate, because this crate here has fire arrows, and you want to pick up as many fire arrows as you can on the way. And so you see I break it, and I break them. That's 3 motions. I did all 3 things I wanted to. That was actually amazing. And so what you want to note as well is you want to pick up the bow that the very first Moblin had. And so again, you use the crate to defeat this last Moblin. You want to optimally bring it over here and drop it in front of you. Now, unfortunately, what happened to me this time is the one Moblin threw his bow seemingly into the lava, so I wasn't able to pick it up. So I don't have the stronger bow that I would want to right now, and that means later I'll need to get a bow from a chest that I would normally skip. But that means at this point, even though I'm 30 seconds ahead, I'm feeling kind of bad because I'm going, oh crud, I have the weaker bow now, as opposed to having a 36 strength bow. I'm currently going forward with the, I don't even know what the Lizal bow has right now, the strength of Lizal bow, maybe like 24, but it's a much weaker bow. So Igneo is really annoying. I run towards him at first, hit him with the Great Frostblade to wake him up. I switch over to the sledgehammer that we picked up from the Lava Skull Camp, and then I don't even focus on trying to get double hits here after I climb on top. The Igneo, for whatever reason, has a habit of bucking me off, just being generally annoying. So if I can just wake him up, get back on top of him, and then hit him and defeat him, then that's all I want. And you'll notice here, I purposely run to him, hit him with the Great Frostblade, and then run over him, because I have found trying to stay on top of him when he's standing up is just a nightmare. And so this isn't much slower, maybe a second and a half at most, but I run all the way past him, climb up his back, and then go to town using the double hits. Afterwards, there's just a couple of quips. Again, you don't have to do these right here. You can do them later if you want to. I find it best to do it there. The only advice I have on equips is for bows. It's most optimal to do it when you already have a bow out for one reason or another. Same thing with arrows. It's just an extra thing if you don't have your bow, but that's, again, not too important. So rest floor here, again, we're going to go and pick up the crate. This unfortunately doesn't have a good bow here, but this middle one does have a stone smasher, which is very important for defeating a lot of enemies to come. Again, there's fairies, there's arrows if you want them, but as far as the chest, the best thing to pick up is that stone smasher. So this now started the tundra levels. Again, we have 2 mini taluses. We just defeat them with bombs. There's a choo-choo over there. We just defeat it with an arrow. And then there's a camp of bokos here. The 2 blue ones are easy to defeat. Just a single headshot will defeat both of them. This last bokoblin, if you had the stronger bow, it only takes 3 arrows. Here it takes 4 arrows because I have the weaker bow. I don't know why I switched to fire arrows so quickly there. I could have just defeated him with normal arrows. But you do need fire arrows equipped for the start of the next floor, so I guess that's what I was going for there. And 12 is a good number, so I knew I was safe on fire arrows. And so now we have the Tundra Lookout. I'm going to start by running this way. There's an Ice Lizalfos. I'm going to obliterate him with a fire arrow. There's 2 Ice Choo-Choos there. You can use the Meteor Rod again, which I said is very important. Because as I should note on these ice floors, even if you pick up the shirt, which is in the chest on the rest floor, it won't be enough to stop you from taking cold damage. So you need to have a fire weapon equipped. Most of the time it'll be the Meteor Rod, but sometimes it'll be the Flame Spear coming up. But you'll notice here I actually go for this ice kind of block in the back because, spoiler alert, this chest has ancient arrows in it. And that's now all 9 ancient arrows we need. For movement's sake, I turn around and I shield surf over here. And I switch to the Flame Spear because now we're actually going to use it for melee, not only for heat. But so this one, just 2 hits to defeat him. This one, fire arrow, headshot will defeat him. This bokoblin honestly surprised me. You can't see my face because I'm covered up by my own face right now. But usually he's sitting up here on the 2nd level, but he must have seen me come down quicker. But just like the other blue bokoblin, 2 hits with the Flame Spear will defeat him. And now, this is one of my scarier shots in it. This is a white moblin. And so if you are going to save 1 ancient arrow as you're starting out, this would be the ancient arrow not to use. You can use the Thunderblade to have him drop his weapon, either a Thunderblade or a shock arrow, make him drop his weapon. You can pick up his weapon and then do spinning double hits to defeat him. That's the slower strat. It's like, 10 to 12 seconds slower. It's much slower, at least at the high level. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit him with an ancient arrow. I have missed this guy a few times, so it does make me nervous every time. But after you obliterate that guy or you defeat him with his own weapon, that's it for the Tundra Lookout, and we move on to the next floor with the Wizrobe and the smartest enemy in the game. So this next floor, you'll see me first start off with doing a little shield serve. It's not like any amount faster, but it does save you a little bit of stamina because you will run out of stamina here. You'll notice first, there's a black moblin over here, there's an ice Wizrobe here, and then there's a little Boko camp with 2 black Bokos, or 2 blue Bokos, and a white Bokoblin. This is the first white Bokoblin. We've seen a white Moblin. This is a white Bokoblin now. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to take a fire arrow to the Wizrobe. And so I got really unlucky here. Not only do I have the weaker bow, which means the trajectory is a little bit harder to aim, but the Wizrobe is really far away. The Wizrobe could be right up here in your face, but he's really far away, which not only makes aiming harder, but you need to pick up the Blizzard Rod that he's going to drop. The Blizzard Rod is, again, very important, just like the Thunderstorm Rod was, just like the Meteor Rod is on this final floor. So you not only need to defeat this Wizrobe, you need to make sure you notice where the Blizzard Rod falls. But after you shoot him with a fire arrow, you're going to move over here. Headshot defeats the blue one. Headshot defeats the blue one. Headshot just to have him dancing around fire. I whistle right here so I can get this Moblin's attention and have him running towards us. This is the most easily distracted Moblin in the game. If you don't whistle, if you don't try to get his attention, he'll just kind of wander off. Sometimes he'll pick up the crate and blow up himself up. It's not enough to defeat himself, but it will give him a little bit of damage. But you want to try your best to get this guy's attention because he will just not notice you sometimes. But anyway, I switch to the Stone Smasher. I face away from the enemy to get double hits again. You kind of just got to sit here for a second as you defeat the white Moblin. He's got a lot of health, or Bokoblin. So I run over here to the Blizzard Rod, again whistling to get his attention. I need the Blizzard Rod. I find that I like to stasis this guy. I got really unlucky here that even though I was attacking him, he just did not want to engage. And so I can remember during the speedrun, I say, I'm just going to keep spinning until you attack me. And so he runs over there to try to get a weapon. I lose a lot of time here, unfortunately. But after I defeat him, I re-equip the Meteor Rod to get my heat back up, and then that's it for that floor. The most important thing again is to pick up the Blizzard Rod because it's very important. We're coming up on the Frost Talus now. This one is very straightforward, not like the Igneo Talus. The only little trick is at the beginning, you need to wake him up. I have the Meteor Rod here. You could also use a Fire Arrow. But basically, after he hits the ground here is when you can actually unfrost him, which you need to do damage to hop on his back. And so once I see him get close to putting his fist on the ground, I just start spamming the Meteor Rod just so I can hit him as soon as possible. You don't have to hit him 3 times. If you can just hit him once, it'll be enough. I just spam it because there's no reason not to. He falls to the ground. You get on his back. You equip the Stone Smasher for the bonus damage. You start spinning, and then he is... I tripped a little bit right there for some reason. But after you start spinning, he's a pretty easy enemy. And you'll notice again, I equip the Meteor Rod for heat, and I equip Ancient Arrows because you really do want to have Ancient Arrows equipped right away here. It is important because coming up next is the first Lionel, and you don't have to worry about equipping whenever he can pull out his bow or attack you right away on the next floor. This one may be the easiest floor in the game. I joke about calling it the hardest one. Lionel in front of you, shoot him with an Ancient Arrow. That's it. How's your day? And we move on. So there's a rest area here coming up that I would normally skip everything and just go on with my life. But because I did not get the strengthened Lizalbo, whatever Lizalbo I needed from the Lava Lookout, I go to this chest here to pick up the Royal Bow. This Royal Bow is actually a little bit better. Not worth getting instead of the other bow. The other bow is right on our way. It's not slower. It's not on the rest floor. But I get it and I move on. And so, if you've been this casually, you'll know this floor can be a nightmare sometimes. There are 6 Decayed Guardians around the clock in this floor. And so, before the so-called like kind of manly strat was to try to do 6 parries, defeat all these enemies. I was bad at parries. I did not like doing parries. I died on this floor a lot. And so what I did is what I called sissy strats, in which I would collect 2-handed weapons like the Stone Smasher, the Great Frost Blade. There's a Knight's Claymore that one of the black moblins have on the Lava Lookout at the very top. And I would just run around, defeat these Decayed Guardians one by one using 2-handed weapons like that. That was my sissy strats. I have since combined them, as you'll see here, and I have found that the combined parries and sissy strats is at least beating my goal of doing 6 parries. So I don't know how much you can push and optimize doing 6 parries, but I would say either 1, do sissy strats at the beginning, or follow my way of doing 4 parries and 2 that you defeat with the Stone Smasher. So this very first one that wakes up, I just defeat with a parry. Again, this is a close range parry, so I'm waiting for the flash in the eye, and then I hit the parry button. I cancel the slow time with crouching. I run over to this one immediately to my right and start attacking him with the Stone Smasher. I face away to get double hits, and that's it. So then I run over here to fight this one next because this Decayed Guardian and the one across from it, which you can see here, wake up next. And so I position myself by the tree here, not only to be close to be able to have a close range parry, which I just react and press the button, but then also so this guy doesn't start lasering me here, I can focus on just one parry. So again, it's the same thing. I'm just looking for the flash of the eye, my audio cue, and I canceled it. So sometimes here, just to be a little extra safe, because I like being able to target the Guardian, not just stand there holding my shield, I'll run in the sightline of this tree just to delay him focusing on me enough that I can get close enough to lock onto him with target. Again, another close range parry. And then this is the second Guardian that I defeat with the Stone Smasher. Face backwards, get double hits. And then we move on to the final Guardian. You equip the Meteor Rod here. Position yourself to get ready. I like to get close. You can get far if you prefer the further parry. But then after we defeat him, we move on to the final Guardian Gauntlet of a Guardian Stalker, then a Guardian Skywatcher, then a floor with a Stalker, Skywatcher, and Guardian Turret in a tower, followed then by the last floor of Bokos on horses, a Lionel, and a Guardian Turret. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So this floor, really annoying. There's a Guardian Stalker all the way in this corner. He just doesn't want to notice you. He runs away from you. I run towards him and whistle. Fortunately, this time he noticed me pretty quickly. You just want to stasis him, shoot him with an Ancient Arrow in the eye, and then that extra damage of the Ancient Arrow still applies even when it's in stasis. So don't worry about that. And then we move on. You can also create a cryonis block in the water if you feel more comfortable jumping off a cryonis block and doing bullet time as opposed to doing stasis. There's much less of a time crunch when you do that, but it's really up to preference. Stasis is just a little bit faster. Guardian Skywatcher here, you take the meteor rod, create an updraft with yourself with fire on the grass, you fly towards him, shoot him in the eye with the ancient arrow, and we move on. That one's really straightforward. Just like the previous floor, you could also just run forward, stasis, shoot him in the eye. I find that to be a little bit harder to do and not much faster than doing this, maybe like a second, 2 at the most. So I just do the safer strat and I move on. So this is the one that has all 3, like I was saying. I take an angle here, specifically the way I run, because I don't want the stalker to notice me too quickly. I want to deal with the Skywatcher first as he's coming around. So I curve a little bit, so I have basically this angle running at the bush. I will use the meteor rod again to create an updraft so I can fly, create my own bullet time for the Skywatcher. And then I would like if the stalker had noticed me earlier, but he didn't. So I'll whistle sprint, get him to notice me, ancient arrow to the eye again. And now this guardian in the turret is a nightmare. Like I said, we only have X amount of ancient arrows, which we use to defeat X amount of enemies. So you need to hit this guy in the eye right away. And if you did save an ancient arrow before by not defeating the Moblin with an ancient arrow, this is the one that you'd want to back up on for. But what I like to do is just try to run as close as possible. I'm really kind of aiming for this bush. This is where I like shoot my meteor rod. I want to jump from here to try to get as close as I can because the guardian is so high. He's further away that you can't just shoot. You can't just aim the dot of the bow on the eye. You have to actually aim. And it's also a problem with the guardians moving. So basically, this is not just like the easy arrow shots that we've had so far. Fortunately, I get it here though. I meteor rod. I do actually kind of float up and to the right because he's about to shoot. He actually starts shooting, but I get the bonus of having the bullet time. I aim my shot, and now I switch to the blizzard rod, which as I hinted was very important, is now very important now for the next floor. So please note, entering the final floor, which is coming up next, you want to have ancient arrows, stasis, and the blizzard rod because you will need all 3 of them very quickly. So, as you see here, you have a Lionel in the middle, very scary. You have X amount of Bokos on horses. I'm actually not even sure how many there are. And then over here in the tower, there's a guardian turret. This tower isn't nearly as big, so it isn't as scary. But the Lionel is scary, so we want to deal with him first. So you want to stasis him, and you're going to shoot him with an ancient arrow. Please note how much higher I aimed. I have a problem of aiming too low and making it be way too much of a clincher as an arrow approaches him. You want to aim higher because it will fall down. Don't aim too high, of course. You got to find the sweet spot. But please note that your problem will typically be aiming too low as opposed to aiming too high. But after you obliterate the Lionel, you're going to pull out the blizzard rod, and you want to kind of time the way you do it. You don't want to spam it because you want to catch these Bokos, because defeating them with the blizzard rod will be the fastest. That one actually gets caught up a little bit in the laser blast. But then after you freeze the Bokos and you've obliterated the Lionel, you want to run over and climb on top of this tower. I would advise using a target to lock onto this guy. It makes it so that Link is really steady at the top of the tower and you're already facing him. So then you can just lock on front hop off there, use the ancient arrow to defeat him, and then that's the last enemy. Again, because I use wind bomb on the stairs, I switch over to make sure I have arrows and bombs equipped. You don't need to do that until you're really until you're trying to beat the world record. Until you start coming for me, I wouldn't advise going for the wind bomb there because, you know, it's time save versus killing your run. This one is a bit more important because it can save you, like, I think the first time I got a gold here, it beat it by 14 seconds. But so this wind bomb here is the final trick of the run. Just explode here, run, paraglider just to slow yourself down. Now it's just running up and catching the sword. The splits will actually say 35-11. I was slow to get a physical split on the last one. I retimed it. It's a 35-10. And that is the world record for Trial of the Sword, 80% no out of bounds. So, video ends right there very, very abruptly. I didn't want too much going on there. But that's it. That's the tutorial. I hope it was very informative. If you have any specific questions, especially for, running to learn the category, I'm always happy to answer. I want as many people to run this category as they want to. I think it's really cool, and the leaderboards are way too shallow. It is listed as an individual level on the Trial of the Sword, or on the Breath of the Wild leaderboard if you haven't seen it before. But if you look in the description now, I'll have a link to the leaderboards so you can see the leaderboards in their entire glory. I will have links to the tutorials not only for wind bombs, but anything else that seems relevant that I can't think of right away. Additionally, I'll have my contact information. You can either leave a comment in the YouTube comment for this video, or you can use Discord, as I'll put my messenger there, and I'm always happy to answer any questions. If you start doing runs, let me know. I'll be happy to come and watch and provide any advice I can. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you on the Trial of the Sword leaderboards very soon.